got through watching that Bobby and Offset interview, and baby, he ethered her. Thinned out all the edges on the left and the right, okay? Ate that ass up so bad she got a diaper rash. What the fuck is the destiny? But here's a compilation of my favorite moments from the interview.
What made you put boots with shorts on like a day where it's 100 degrees outside and then a giant jacket?
So why did I do that? Because you're not going to do it. That's the reason why I get dressed. I dress the way that you won't dress because you don't get it. You don't get the language. You don't get, you know what I'm saying? So this is my style. You have yours, right?
Understand. You don't have to be so mean.
I'm not being mean. I'm not being mean. It's just you don't get it. So I'm very passionate about the people that don't get it because they need to get it because they dress like you and then they be lost.
Oh.
You know? Like why would you go 2000s tank with the open button up? You put that together. It's just not all the way together.
What would
but
you do?
I could get it together though.
Okay, well,
yeah, it's giving 36-year-old mom, you're 26. You see what I'm saying? So you should stay down there and not up there. You feel me?
I don't want to talk anymore.
Why not? Guess what?
What?
You talked. Oh, I got your ass.
Can you sing a song right now?
Can you pay me?
You wanted to be on here.
Huh?
You wanted to be on my podcast.
Why you keep saying that cap ass shit, man? I honestly didn't even want to do this shit. I don't fucking do interviews. You heard, you already told me you looked me up. I'm walking out on bullshit. I'm fucking with you because they're making me.
Did you enjoy this interview? Would you recommend it to a friend?
Hell no. To be honest, they ain't gonna fuck with this shit.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend listening to music to anyone either.
You don't have to recommend it. It's stamped in stone, baby. You need a little bit of seasoning. You ain't got no seasoning, man. You like a plain piece of chicken just on the thing. You pull it off and then you serve the dish. You need some motherfucking seasoning, man. Damn, I'm trying to get you to play. You lost in the sauce. You ain't shaking my hand. We finna get you to 25 million. You know what I'm saying? Just a little sprinkle.
Have a great day, Offset.
Just a little seasoning.
All right, you can leave now.
This is my hotel. I paid for this motherfucker. You can leave now. See how that worked? Mm-hmm. But I don't.
Good evening, and thank you for joining me here for Freeform Fridays with Conversations with Taz. That is a perfect example of when you let internet clout and privilege go to your head. She was trying so hard to try to get this man and embarrass him. And trying to play the victim. You can leave now. She should have known, because I've seen a few of her podcast interviews before. Usually she gets somebody to get in a bed and like put a comforter over and they talk through the bed, and he's like, "No, we're not gonna do that. I'll get the room and we can sit on the couch." She should have known. And that's Cardi B's husband, honey. He got to be quick with it. He has to be quick with it. He lives with Cardi B. Don't start none, won't be none. Like if you're going to interview someone, first of all, do not believe that your internet clout is going to be more than somebody's actual life successes and popularity. And if you're going to try to comfort somebody, do your research. She tried it. She failed, but she tried it. Ooh, cha. I don't know what's going on every Friday now, but it's like everybody wants to make the news on Friday. So before we get into all of that, I was sent some really great nuggets from the Biden impeachment inquiry. So let's go through that before we get into everything else.
In Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, Republican shutdown will cost 6,306 of her constituents their paychecks. In Lauren Boebert's district, Republicans shut down.
Democrats are the party of shutdowns. You guys love shutdowns.
Very much.
The Democratic Party, they're on fire today in this whole Biden impeachment hearing. And ain't nothing been about Biden. It's all been about Hunter. And Hunter don't fucking run nothing. But anyhow, Summer Lee, she spoke from her whole heart in this. And she shut down James Comer and Marjorie Three-Toe Green, the Neanderthal that never evolved. But really listen to what she has to say here.
Lee from Pennsylvania for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 3 hours and 45 or so minutes into this, the Republicans' own witnesses have confirmed that they have seen no evidence of any evidence. I think that if my Republican colleagues had a so-called smoking gun, they would have presented it by now and would have talked about it
Could the gentlelady read a bank statement, an email, a text message? Are you asking her to do
reclaiming my time? Thank you. Reclaiming my time. Instead, we're sitting here with no fact witnesses and no evidence in this sham so-called impeachment to distract from their inability to fulfill their basic duty to fund and run our government. Republicans know the American people don't want their shutdown. So instead, the Republicans on this committee are attempting to divert and distract the American people's attention by spending taxpayer dollars on this sham impeachment hearing 2 days before they shut the government down in hopes that the media, and I don't just mean Fox News, will fall for their scheme and give more airtime to the lies being told on this committee today than the real life impact their shutdown will have on even their own constituents' lives. In fact, in Chairman Comer's district, Republicans' shutdown will cost 8,937 of his constituents their paychecks. In Jim Jordan's district, Republicans' shutdown will cost 3,939 of his constituents their paychecks. In Marjorie Taylor Greene's district, Republicans' shutdown will cost 6,306 of her constituents their paychecks. In Lauren Boebert's district, Republicans shut down.
Democrats are the party of shutdowns. You guys love shutdowns.
Thank you very much. In Lauren Boebert's district, Republicans shutdown will cost 9,016 of her constituents their paycheck. In Paul Gosar's Arizona district, Republicans shutdown will cost 12,349 of his constituents their paycheck. In Byron Donald's 3,235 folks paycheck. In Andy Biggs, 8,433. In Lisa McLean, 7,286. In Scott Perry's Pennsylvania district and the capital of my Commonwealth, Republicans shutdown will cost 5,445 of his constituents who will lose their paycheck. Indeed, when you add it all up, Republicans shutdown will cost 217,583 of their constituents on this committee's paychecks, their income for who knows how long. Let that sink in for a second. Those are our mothers, our fathers, caretakers, brothers, sisters, moms, dad, grandmas, grandpas, friends, neighbors, beloved community members, veterans who won't know how their food or medicine will be paid for or where their rent money is coming from. Many of them vote Republican, but I bet you not one of them cares more about Hunter Biden's laptop or helping Kevin McCarthy keep his gig as leader or speaker of his dysfunctional caucus than they care about receiving their paycheck and making their ends meet. And so the Republicans on this committee are betting that we'll spend this hearing engaging in partisan bickering over their favorite buzzwords rather than talking about how the MAGA shutdown will crush all of our constituents. To be honest, I don't quite care about private citizen Hunter, whom the proper authorities are dealing with, or the cable news culture war distractions. I care about the 7 million babies, children, mothers across this country who after Sunday will lose access to food and formula, over 10,000 in my district alone. I care about 300,000 families to 20,000 veterans who after Sunday could face eviction from their homes. Rare diseases and cancer patients whose experimental trials will be delayed for months. And I care about our seniors unable to get help with Social Security and Medicare. And make no mistake, their attacks are targeted, both in who's behind them and who are going to be hurt most. The most marginalized folks bear the brunt of these MAGA Republicans' attacks. Black folks, brown folks, trans folks, poor folks, disabled folks. Keeping that struggle in mind, we've had 2 hearings on the infant formula shortage on the subcommittee chaired by Congressman McLean. Yet with the 320,000 babies, women, and children in her home state of Michigan about to go hungry due to her party's shutdown, it seems like my Republican colleagues only care about an issue when they can point the finger in another direction. much like what's going on in this embarrassment of a hearing today. Mr. Gerhardt, in one of your recent op-eds, and you have repeated it here, you mentioned that a good test for assessing the constitutionality of a governmental action is to switch the names of the political parties and the actors involved. If the outcome is the same, it is a good sign of neutrality. If the outcome is not the same, then there's a good chance that partisanship is the driving force. I think we can safely say that this inquiry would fail that neutrality test. And since I don't have time, I think we can say that we are here, America, in this sham hearing, prioritizing the political needs of the Republican Party, pushing a lie for Donald Trump as you go hungry and you lose your homes. Shameful.
At the request.
Well, let's read this now. T-Rump privately discussed Biden impeachment with GOP fascist lawmakers. Let's read a little more. You know, T-Rump has privately discussed the inquiry with the members of the House Freedom Caucus and other Republicans. The New York Times reported the discussion comes as Kevin McCarthy, directed committee Tuesday to open the formal inquiry into Biden. They're doing it all for T-Rump. Again, every time T-Rump is indicted, every time he's found guilty of stuff, they want to redirect something to Biden. They have no proof of nothing. It has been shown all day today, no proof of nothing. But their whole goal is to distract. Look over there, not over here, as we shut down the government and do harm to millions of people. There you go, folks.
Absolutely correct. And I love how Marjorie Taylor Greene, with all her caucasity, all her Anglo audacity, goes, no, it's the Democrats that love a shutdown. Honey, we can see you. We know who's doing the shutdowns. Every time you all get in control of any portion of Congress, there's a shutdown. You are part of the problem right now. And to all the people that are like, yeah, I don't care, shut it down. Yeah, no money to Ukraine, secure the borders. Honey, how well would you do at your job if you're not getting paid? And ask yourself why you're so concerned about the southern border, but not the northern border. And I need people to understand global allyship and stop acting as if the United States is the only country on the planet and or the only country on the planet with a military. Like we just out here whooping up on everybody. No. The United States historically goes and causes issues for people and then retreats back home and calls it a victory and goes about its day, as if the war has ended, as if the turmoil was fixed. But let's get updated on some Trump trials. There's so much going on today. So the New York City fraud trial is still set to start on Monday. Yesterday, I forgot to update you guys on this. The judge denied the delay request. And remember, because this was a partial summary judgment stating that, yes, the evidence was overwhelming that Trump and his sons and two other people committed fraud in regards to the business. So this trial is to determine the damages and other matters. Potential witnesses are Don Jr., Eric, Ivanka, Michael Cohen, Trump's former lawyer, and Alan Weisselberg, who was also found guilty in the summary judgment and already went to prison regarding the whole tax fraud situation with the Trump organization and Trump himself. Trump is on both witness lists. Now, the Trump family, outside of Donald Sr. himself is unlikely to testify, especially after Trump sued this judge and called him deranged online. Now, the witness list overlap between the prosecution and the defense, give or take 3 to 4 names. And those 3 to 4 names are not on Trump's witness list. And it does appear that Attorney General Letitia James intends to have at least Don Sr. testify. Now, the prosecution's witness list is comprised of 53 names. Trump's witness list is comprised of 128. So it seems like he's still sticking with this. We're going to delay. And then regarding the federal elections interference case, Trump's team has asked for a 2-month extension for pretrial motions. Remember, their last court date for this case was 2 months ago. In the documents case per Jack Smith, and this is a quote from the latest filing, the resequencing of events proposed by the defendants sets the schedule backwards and would intentionally derail both pretrial proceedings and this court's trial date. Trump's various legal teams are just trying to delay everything. It's like they're trying to push it in hopes that the government shutdown will further delay things, which it won't. None of these shutdowns, they're going to put you in jail, okay? Or hopefully getting Trump elected. Honey, the election is next year. It's not like you pushing it to this November. The election is next year. And the more and more you look at things, Trump doesn't have a shot in hell. Also yesterday, Judge Chutkan declined to recuse herself, which she should have never recused herself. That was an idiotic request. And in Fulton County, the Cheeseboro Powell trial does give Trump somewhat of a delay because remember, that is projected to last 4 months. Let me make sure I have nothing else. Pardon Trump. All right. Moving on to the government shutdown. Now I'm going to go from the start of the day and I'm going to bring it down to where we are now, okay? So the Senate proposed a stopgap bill that would fund the government through November 17th. Did great. Looks like it would have passed in the Senate and would provide billions of dollars in disaster relief to FEMA, which with all the climate change disasters that are happening, we need it, and Ukraine funding. Most likely, dead on arrival at the House, far-right representatives within the House have vowed to tank any bill that comes through at this point. They have zero. It's like they're making it very clear that they do not want to help anybody. So once again, very audacious of Marjorie Taylor Greene to say it's the Democrats that love a shutdown. McCarthy's stopgap bill had steep spending cuts even further than the deal that he struck with President Biden earlier this year. It takes a hardline stance on border and immigration protocols, but it has zero chance of passing within the Senate. It didn't even pass the House today. The Freedom Caucus members in the House vowed to torpedo any extension of government funding, citing concerns over the national debt. The national debt is going to vastly increase because should there be another government shutdown, especially if it lasts 36 days or more like the last one, you're going to have more federal employees in need of these social programs in order to try to get a semblance of getting back on track. You do not decrease a deficit by increasing the need of governmental dependence by the citizens. But I digress, child. Now, yesterday, the House passed its defense spending bill. Now, just the House passed it. The defense spending bill included, It was a budget of $820 billion. It passed with a vote of 218 to 210. All but 2 of the GOP voted yes, and all of 2 of the Democrats voted no. And it doesn't look like it has a chance of passing in the Senate. In a separate vote, they were able to clear the way for aid to Ukraine, 311 to 117, and that was in favor of $3 million in aid to Ukraine. All no votes on this were, of course, from the GOP. Now, the House representatives, the House Republican representatives seem to be moving towards replacing McCarthy as Speaker as early as next week. The possible replacement they were looking at is Tom Emmer of Minnesota. They believe that he would be more responsive to their concerns and better deliver the hardline results that they want. Tom Emmer is a part of McCarthy's leadership team, and in a statement to the Washington Post, he said he has no interest in replacing McCarthy and fully supports McCarthy. The far-right Republicans are like that creepy dude, whether you met him in school, at a bar, at the grocery store, that just that just won't listen. He just, in his mind, he just knows what you want. Matt Gaetz has twice brought a motion to the House floor that could have led to McCarthy's removal. But per people familiar with the plan, says that Matt Gaetz may officially move to remove McCarthy as early as Sunday, which would be, if they can't come to a vote by tomorrow, the day that the shutdown officially begins. And the removal of McCarthy would kickstart a 48-hour process in order where they have to hold a vote to determine if he is bupkis or not, which would further hold up other things. I swear, they do not have any sense. And news on the UAW strike. It appears that there is some progress being made with Stellantis, or as you may have known them previously, Chrysler Fiat or Fiat. I've heard it pronounced both ways. So 7,000 additional union members at GM and Ford. Previously, Ford was on board with doing the right thing and sitting down at the negotiation tables, but a wrench has been put into that. Are joining the strike. This is not a national strike. It is a targeted strike. So this is uncharted territory for everybody involved. The Ford CEO, Jim Farley, has come out and now calls the strikes premeditated and heavily criticized the UAW for not wanting to complete a deal before the deadline. And there we have it with that. Would you stop? What is wrong with you this week? Dude, I got to get to this video. Stop. You're doing the most. And since we got updated on that, let's get updated with Francesca and the end of the WGA strike.
I am so happy that the writer's strike is officially over, because not only did we win, but now I get to gloat. You see, during the 146 days that we were on strike, I got thousands of comments on my content that said,
"This strike is gonna break the WGA. You don't deserve to be paid more. AI is going to replace you."
Guess what? Every single one of those losers was wrong. So what exactly did we win? Let's go over some of the highlights. Disclosure of streaming numbers with residuals to match. So residuals are the payments that writers and actors receive when their work is successful on network TV. We fought for this to be included in our contract with networks like Fox, CBS, NBC, etc. But we never had provisions for streaming because when we got this in our contract, streaming didn't exist. So for example, if your Netflix show was a hit, the CEOs would get a bonus, but the writers would not. And the streamers wouldn't even tell us how many views the show got. So we knew we were being screwed, but we didn't even know how much. Now we get to share in the success of our work, which is how it should have always been. We also got strong limitations on AI. AI cannot write scripts and thus undercut writers from getting their script fees. Writers are allowed to use AI if they want to, but they cannot be forced to use AI by the studios. They also can't be forced to rewrite AI-generated material. And studios must disclose if they're giving AI-generated content to writers or if any AI-generated content is incorporated in the work. We also got script fees for staff writers. This is a huge win because this is something that we have been asking for decades. So staff writer is the most junior writer in the writer's room. It's usually your first writing job. So you've got a room full of TV writers working on a season of television, but not every writer in the room will get assigned to write an episode of TV. If you're assigned to write an episode of TV, it's a great credit, but you also get a special fee on top of your weekly fee. But in the past, the staff writer, aka the least experienced person in the room, did not get that script fee if they were assigned an episode. For many people, that fee is the difference between being able to afford their health insurance and sustain themselves between jobs. Next up, minimum writer's room size. In recent years, studios have been hiring less writers to do more work because it saves them money. But this results in writers being overworked and underpaid. We now have guidelines about how many writers need to be hired for what duration of time based on how many episodes have been ordered. We also have guidelines about what levels of writers need to be hired, so you don't just end up with a bunch of super experienced writers, you also have to include staff writers, aka new people. This not only preserves the writer's room, but it makes space and opportunities for new talent. The guarantee that writers will be kept on through production. This is a really big one because writing does not stop just because the writer's room has ended. Writers need to be on set in order to produce their episodes and make changes as needed. Writers being on set is crucial in order for them to learn the skills to help them advance in their careers as writers and producers. Individual health and pension contributions for writing teams. So when you hire a writing team, which is usually 2 people, they get paid as 1 person. In the past, that also applied to their pension and healthcare contributions. Now, each member of a writing team will get contributions to their pension and healthcare plans as if they were a solo writer. This is huge because in the past, many writing teams were not able to keep their health insurance despite being staffed regularly. Now, of course, these are just the highlights, but you can see a full summary of our new contract on the WGA's website. So what's next? So a number of writers' rooms that were on pause because of the strike are already back up and running, but our sister union, SAG-AFTRA, which I'm also a member of, is still currently on strike. We're still on the picket line supporting them the same way that they supported us. But the good news is SAG-AFTRA and the studios are going back into negotiations next week. And I'm confident that the WGA's deal will lay the foundation for SAG to get the fair contract that we also deserve.
And just a few notes that I forgot, sorry, overlooked them. Regarding the government shutdown, McCarthy, in a political move, is now playing on the rhetoric of his own far-right constituency. And he's saying that if you do not vote to avoid the shutdown and come to an agreement, then you are now siding with Biden. And that is coupled with, you know, him also claiming it's Biden's fault. No, it's not Biden's fault. Also, a little bit more information regarding the New York State fraud case. It is looking like, excuse me, Donald Trump will be in the courtroom on Monday. So, and this trial will determine intent and how much money was gained through the fraud and what part of the profits from the fraud can be turned over to the people, aka the state of New York. The Attorney General is requesting a fine of at least $250 million. All right, now we're caught up. Now to the story of the day. Coming out of Fulton County, we have our very first plea deal. And who took that plea deal? That would be Scott Hall, who is charged, who his charges stem from the Coffee County data theft scheme. Scott Hall is an Augusta area bail bondsman by trade. So keep in mind, his charges completely overlap with the charges that are attached to Sidney Powell. And he was the one that was picked up from the airport regarding unlawful breach of election equipment. And he may testify for the prosecution during the October 23rd trial of Chesborough and Powell, because his testimony could dismantle Powell's current defense of other people were in charge. Now, Hall quickly became a leading purveyor of Trump's voter fraud claims. And honey, this rabbit hole I did not see coming. do not, during this trial, underestimate anybody because their name isn't popular or a household, or you're like, oh, well, they weren't in politics or they don't own a company. Pay attention to this and you'll understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. So, Scott Hall boasted, and he's 59 years old. Also, keep that in mind. He is 59 years old. He boasted about scanning every freaking ballot. He allegedly worked alongside Kathy Latham also regarding the voter ballot breach. He helped break into the election equipment in Coffee County and tried to cover it up. He was caught on surveillance footage with 3 others at the Coffee County Elections Board. Now, Kathy Latham is one, and so is Sidney Powell. I can't think right now who the other person was. The entire goal was to misrepresent the voter tally in favor of Trump. Keep in mind, Coffee County is a very obscure county in Georgia, but it's consistently red, and it was consistently voting in favor of Trump, which it did the 2020 election as well. So why they chose this one, there are some people who have a theory that they broke in to figure out how the Dominion system's voting machines worked, because Scott Hall also believed that it was national election fraud. We're about to get to that. And a lot of people believe that they were just trying to figure out how the machines work, because they didn't just breach the Coffee County Board of Elections building on one day. They breached it January 9th through 11th, January 13th, January 18th through 19th, and then January 25th and 26th. In late December 2020, Scott Hall called the Overstock CEO, Patrick Byrne, and at this time, Byrne was at the Trump Hotel in D.C. at the time of the call. He told Byrne the following: that he was a Georgia bail bondsman and that he had a large network of people that included private detectives, cyber experts, and people that Burns referred to as snitches. Also, during a meeting at the White House about seizing voter machines, Burns referred to Hall as our man in Georgia. Hall also placed a call to Jeffrey Clark while Clark was working at the Department of Justice. The call lasted approximately 63 minutes. Hall's input was critical to Clark's plan. What was Clark's plan? The call resulted in Clark urging the Department of Justice to send a letter to Georgia claiming that the Department of Justice doubted the legitimacy of the 2020 election and encouraged the sending of alternate pro-Trump electors. I want to know who's ready to stop saying they didn't know that they were fake electors at this point. So all of this seems to tie, well, Hall himself seems to tie Clark, Meadows, and Trump to the federal government's role in the fake elector scheme. So we know Jack Smith got his eye on this and whatever testimony that's happened. Scott Hall also sent an email to Donnelly, who was working at the Department of Justice at the time, requesting a briefing with the Department of National Intelligence, who was John Radcliffe at the time, because he suspected Chinese interference with the voting data. This lowly bail bondsman is able to just pick up the phone and call all of these high-ranking members of Trump's federal government. Now, what is a huge component as to Scott Hall taking the plea deal today was the fact that he wanted to continue to work as a bail bondsman. And we know with a felony under your belt, you can't hunt felons while you a felon. Now, the plea agreement, which came through an impromptu hearing. So this was like they was burning the midnight oil, okay? Remember, this is all under Judge McAfee, who was just appointed January of this year. It resulted in probation of 5 years, 1 year per count, a fine of $5,000, $1,000 per count. He is no longer to have any involvement in activities involving polling or the administration of elections. He must write a letter of apology to the state of Georgia. He must complete 200 hours of community service. He is to have no communication with victims, witnesses, the media, or co-defendants. Now, shout out to Judge McAfee for that. I am so happy that a judge in any of these cases is starting to slap these people with, hey, while all these trials are going on, even if you take a plea deal, you are not about to make a pretty penny going and talking to the media and lying to the media, but then telling the truth in court to save your badonkadonk. Because most of these cases are not televised. The one in Fulton County will be. He has no travel restrictions. That I was a little weary of, but he is a bail bondsman and he wants to continue to working as a bail bondsman. And for what I saw, he wasn't really doing international travel like that to go get people. And he must testify honestly in all future proceedings. The probation can be converted to 2.5 years of prison if he has no violations. And he had to submit a recorded statement that has already been turned over to the state, and the statement is to keep him honest throughout all of these court proceedings. So if he decided, anybody who watches any of the Law and Orders, you know, there's always somebody that's like, give me an immunity deal, but give me a plea deal, and then they get up on the stand and try to throw a wrench in it. They're like, nope, we have your testimony recorded. So if you try to lie in this court or any other court, we're going to lock you up. We're going to lock you up because he's already pled guilty unequivocally. There was so much going on. My apologies. I was not able to pull the footage because in Fulton County for plea deals, they do that over Zoom. So even if you go to the courthouse, you can watch it on there. And it is on YouTube somewhere. I will try to grab it by Monday if you want to wait till then. Other than that, like I said, it is available out there. But whoo, honey, it has been a day. It has been a, who saw all of that coming today? Hello, puppers. Now, before we get into another heavy topic, we do have, I guess you could call this an update on Arthur. We got another wrinkle in time when it comes to the Arthur Knight telenovela. You take a look.
Nicholas Rossi ain't been on the news lately. Oh well, let's see what's on TV.
Hugely successful. Just look in that video package.
What the
of that standing ovation.
Rafe Heidelman, what?
It's impossible to imagine, you know, some theoretical British president.
What the fucking palace is going on?
And yes,
okay, near as I can figure, there are 4 possibilities here. 1. Nicholas Rossi's ridiculous Arthur Knight persona was actually based on a real living person this whole time, and this is the guy. 2. This is Nicholas Rossi. He's escaped, adopted the name Rafe Heidelman, and now does TV appearances fluffing the English monarchy. 3. We've stumbled upon some sort of secret British government cloning project. Or 4. This is a look that people in the UK choose on purpose. And honestly, I don't know which of those is the most disturbing. Stay tuned.
Okay, when we began this journey, you remember when the authorities confiscated Arthur's notebook, where he had written down all of these names he wanted? I've thought about this since I was originally sent the video. Shout out to Courtney, thank you. And I've been thinking on this in between working and, since this guy that we just saw does TV appearances, how much you want to bet that Arthur decided to single white female him, like not to the full extent of the movie, But he saw him and was like, yeah, I'll blend in with this. He is taking hiding in plain sight to whole new levels. I'm gonna be thinking about this for a while. I'm gonna. How many more moving parts are there to this? This is what when you have insomnia, a spicy brain, and you go down rabbit holes. This rabbit hole has annexes, and a lot of them. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Yes, all I got. And also, before I forget, make sure you check out the links in the description of this video. And if you have not checked out Tazisms or Taztastic Tuesdays, the short version audio only podcast, that's anti-Taz. That is unequivocally anti-Taz. Also, just want to let you all know that this Sunday there will be an additional show because there are videos and topics we just have not been able to get to this week because people just can't behave. Like, and even with me trying to put more news breakdowns on TikTok, it's a lot. I don't know how to say it. But sit back, get comfortable. There's a series of videos I want to show you because I realize a lot of people are very confused regarding a very out of the blue attack on a Black disabled woman on TikTok. And there's a lot of inaccurate information and somebody has turned themselves into a victim. So would you stop? So here we go.
So a friend of mine was doxxed yesterday and attacked.
I'm just gonna play the video in full to see exactly where
it was a frightening situation for that person.
Well, I don't like bullies. I never liked bullies. I've always stood up for people who have been bullied. Been doing that since I was a kid. Fuck, I did that last night.
I stand for the flag. And he was in a jazzy chair.
So you can go watch the full video for context, but basically that's a live last night where Hawk, and I don't know the other guy, are talking about a video from about a month ago where Hawk and Legal Dad used someone's disability as a punchline.
She made videos using my face, telling her followers it was completely fine for her followers to share my name, the name and phone number of my employer, which her followers did. Repeatedly. That was the worst part. That was the worst part. I lost people who I cared dearly for.
But halfway through the dinner, he just straight up started talking about people behind their backs and like personal shit and people who are mutuals and one that's like a big content creator. Personal fucking shit. And me and my friend just met and we were like, what the fuck? Like, what a shitty thing to do. He like gave us this information we didn't want. And when I told one of the people that he was talking about, he denied it and called me a fucking liar.
But in those moments where we fuck up and we get called out, our true colors get exposed. How do we handle that? Do we get dismissive, defensive? Do we, poo-poo people away? Or do we try to listen, understand, and take in perspectives that we might not have?
Accurate. 100% accurate. I'll stop when they stop. They haven't stopped. So, fuck it. Try to remake All in the Family or The Jeffersons today. You couldn't do it because people on the left have no fucking sense of humor. One of my favorite things about this app is that, people watch my content, they look at my videos, and they automatically assume that I am a Democrat. I am not a Democrat.
I cannot believe I have to say this because I feel like I was abundantly clear the first time I addressed the doxing allegations. I do not want you all contacting them or their employers. When I respond to people on this video, I respond to their words and what their words imply. I do not want you to get off this app, pick up your phones, and call these people's employers and their jobs and email them. I do not want that. Do not do that on my behalf. Because you want to know what's going to happen? It will put me at risk. It will put me in the line of harm. Stop. I'm begging you all, stop. I cannot believe that despite all the talk about how harm wears itself on black people's skin, you all do not realize that the repercussions of your actions will not be felt by you. They'll be felt by me, so stop.
I never said she did. And I don't believe she did. I never said she did. I didn't. I did not say that. Ever. Being black or queer or disabled or female does not get you a pass for being a bully. I never said she did. And I don't believe she did. I never said she did. I didn't. I did not say that. Ever. At 5 p.m. on Monday, July 3rd, I was fired from my job. About 10 days, exactly 10 days after I had been doxxed on TikTok. And during that 10-day period, the law firm that I worked for was inundated with emails and phone calls from people demanding that I be fired. All right, so I took a couple days off. I stood up to somebody who I'm not allowed to stand up to. Plain and simple. That's what happened. I stood up to somebody who I am not allowed to stand up to. And that's what brought the onslaught. I have been on TikTok for 2 years and 3 months, 27 months. And during that time, mainly because of my political views and my sense of humor, I've been attacked in ways that I think most people can't possibly fathom. I have been doxxed. My real name and the name and contact information from my employer was shared because at least one large creator told their followers that it was completely fine to do that. I never said she did. And I don't believe she did. I never said she did. I didn't. I did not say that. Ever. Shockingly, my employer was contacted hundreds of times. Weird. Weird that would happen. And I have been threatened in innumerable ways. And and it's always the people who are doing those things and encouraging tacitly those things, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, who then become the victim, which, hashtag Darvo. And that's not even counting like the last 24 hours where I've had some fucking troll create 4 accounts using a profile photo of my dead mother and doxing me again using my real name.
Has not been fired. He has not been fired. I just called his law firm.
I am not back, but I have to make this video. Please don't do this. Do not call him. Do not contact him, because I know what your intent is, but the result will be I will be in more danger because they will put it all on me. Don't do this. Please stop.
Accurate. 100% accurate. I'll stop when they stop. They haven't stopped, so fuck it. Click through for context. I thought we did too. Her followers are still calling my employer, and they have not stopped calling my employer since the last week of June. Her followers are still calling my employer.
There's more, but I want to intervene real quick. One, it's illegal to fire someone because they're being harassed, and you would think a law firm would know that, but the way his language is, he didn't get fired. Also, he said that he was being harassed for his political beliefs. He admitted that he's not a Democrat, but he tries to present himself as such. I know the creator that he bought that hat from. And then the whole, I was being doxxed by an account that had my mother's profile picture. I saw one person who said that they saw the profile. And the person said that a while ago, he shared a handful of pictures on his page, wasn't a profile. And we know how hard it is to, get a screenshot from a TikTok video, especially without the big play symbol there when you click pause. To his followers. And I'm like, who would randomly hold on to pictures of his mother, and who would have clear pictures? It seems as if he's creating his own troll accounts that go up for a short period of time so a handful of people can witness it, and then he backs out. But no one's been talking about him or the situation in 3 months. And no one is talking about this situation more than him. And I'm sharing it now because there are quite a few people being harassed and quite a few people trying to show their solidarity with him. And you can tell they're not paying attention to what's going on. And I also know that if you don't have mutual followers or whatever, they're not going to see this. So if you come across anybody questioning it, you can surely direct them here. I think we started this at like the 45-minute mark if you want to direct them just to that point. But there is more.
Trophies. Plain and simple. Because we possess characteristics that I'm sure you can...
No. Alright, I was trying to figure out why this video from months ago is suddenly getting bombed with all these lovely little comment essays like from this particularly prolific little snowflake above, and all these white people suddenly reclaiming reverse racism. Well, I am going to break it down for you how it is the race card, because it's 100% white people bullshit from two separate angles. And hang on, you're going to agree with the first one a little bit. First of all, doxing, as it has become, is complete horseshit bullshit. It is wasted effort on the easy to target rather than the actually powerful. And the follow-up to that first point is, it's some white people shit. I took a good solid survey of the people who were going after Hawk and Laughter and Light at the time against Imani's request, and guess what the unifying factor was? It's for people who got a real bad case of main character syndrome and who have not done the internal work to figure out how might I actually be effective and responsible in trying to dismantle oppressive power structure rather than going after that idiot on the internet because I can, because not even doxing if the information is publicly displayed. Fun fact, y'all. That's the part you're maybe kind of going to agree with. Here's the part that you just might want to stretch your little fingers out for the typing fest that's about to come when I say y'all are being Carolyn fucking Bryant. Pissed, gathering myself. Guess who the only parties to have lied in this situation are? Laughter and Light and Hawk. Guess who the only people who have wrongly accused another of an illegal act are? Laughter and Light and Hawk. And I see all out here trying so desperately to rewrite history, to make the black disabled creator the villain in this story because, oh, that would just make stuff make sense according to your grandpappy's logic, wouldn't it? But what about that fancy job that Hawk tragically lost through the consequences of his own actions? Not that I necessarily agree with the degree of those consequences in this specific case, except now maybe I do, because doesn't he know it's wrong to knowingly say false and misleading, potentially dangerous things about others? Oh no, he's a lawyer, he's just expecting y'all idiots to believe him! At the cost of what? A following on a children's app compared to endangering, again, a black disabled creator who did fuck all, but act with extreme grace towards some pedantic fucking Lily White antics. At the end of the day, I am so glad that you are harassing me and not Imani, because all I wanted to do in this situation was be a goddamn rodeo clown for the people who are fucking dangerous. No whisper of an apology, just doubling down on the same dangerous fucking lies. You know, I said it at first, now I really mean it. Apology or get off the fucking internet. Because we've just learned that we cannot trust Hawk to apparently use it responsibly. Irony. Pretty fucking cruel, don't you think? Incidentally, this is a fairly stunning example of victim mentality where it is impossible to look at the consequences of your own actions as arising naturally from those actions. No, it's gotta be somebody else's fault. You gotta lie and put words in the mouth of one of the best creators on this app that she never frickin' said, and then get a whole bunch of milquetoast idiots all fucking riled up about it. Some of y'all apparently missed where this was so dangerous the first time that it was explained to you. Are you getting it now? I'm so fucking done with it. And in the end, yes, although not in at all the same way that you were thinking when you left this gem, we do agree. It is some race card nonsense. It's some white people shit. Of the most classically...
There are so many creators on this app who are defending or justifying, what's been done to me or other people.
Hawk, listen. You've made videos praising me before and telling people to follow me. So I assume that you respect me. And I hope that because you respect me, you'll actually hear me when I say this. Has it ever occurred to you that the reason that so many creators are disagreeing with you might be because you're wrong? If I had received the amount of pushback that you have received throughout this entire thing, if I had lost my job over this, the first thing that I would do is to ask myself the question, is it me? Skipped right over that inquiry and instead just vilify everybody that disagrees with you, and you call them bullies, even though every video that I have seen has been respectful and factual and even generous in some instances. I have not seen a single creator, including Amani, tell anybody to dox you. I've heard plenty of them explicitly say not to. When you make content on this app, particularly when your takes are wildly unpopular and you double down on them many, many times, you do run the risk that some rogue followers of other people might take action like this. By all means, you're free to take issue with the actual people who called your employer and tried to get you fired. That is not the responsibility of other creators on this app who merely disagreed with you, who pushed back against your take, which is something that you do all the time. Engage in discourse on this app. Sometimes we disagree with one another, and none of us are free from the consequences of the content that we make. If your employer fired you over this, it's pretty likely that it's not just the phone calls that got you fired. It's pretty likely that your employer and or maybe clients of the firm that you worked for saw your content and didn't like it. You keep painting yourself as the victim here, and you keep painting everyone who dares to disagree with you as a bully. You're the one that's making 10 times the content about this subject than anyone else is. You are fanning this flame. You have been fanning this flame, video after video after video after video, and then you complain that that's having consequences in your real life. No one on TikTok is drawing this much attention to it as you are. Hey, lawyer to lawyer, don't be that lawyer on TikTok who goes around insinuating that you're going to take legal action against these people because you're losing a social media popularity contest. It's such a bad look. And listen, if you want to go after the actual few people who may have called your employer, who may have actually done the doxing, I guess if that's how you want to spend your time, have at it. But insinuating that you may go after other creators who did nothing but factually and accurately disagree with you, come on, man. So tacky to flex your legal muscles because someone on TikTok hurt your feelings. Now past the point here where you're going to save face by making video after video after video and then dirty deleting the ones that are really bad. This is not going to get better for you. Your best bet at this point would be to take some time and do some personal interrogation and just engage with the possibility that maybe you should not have put yourself in an adversarial position to a disabled Black woman who did not send anybody to dox you. And if you want to be mad at her followers, then you need to be mad at your own, because your own followers often have a mob mentality against anybody that disagrees with you. Unless you want to bear responsibility for everything that they do in your name, some of which is so nasty and misogynistic, then you probably shouldn't hold her responsible for the actions of every person that watches her content either. You're not going to turn the tide of this by incessantly making more and more and more content about it. Your best bet here is to take a beat, is to take some time and engage with the possibility that you actually might be the person that's wrong.
Let me also put this out there. You can Google his username, and because he has connected everything, it leads you to his law firm, his official law firm picture, and everything like that. Just like I have a graphic that I put at the end of some of my TikTok videos that just says Google and then my base username, because everything is connected. So I know you can find everything. That is not doxing. As someone who has legitimately been doxxed, that is not doxing. Also, how good of an attorney can he be with the amount of videos he puts on? And keep in mind, he talks about the city that he's in. He walks around his city on camera. When he does go into court, he tells you the courtroom he's going in. He tells you what time he has to be there. And it's giving very much Trump tactics. If you talk crap about me, I'm going to threaten to sue you. And he can't be that great of an attorney because so far there's no police report. There's no legal action. If you truly feel that this is what's going on, one thing that I know from being attacked by mobs, from being in a domestic situation, egging on the aggressors when you are the victim is not the way to go. That's not generally what people do. And also let's keep in mind that through his own admission, he replied to the entire law firm making a distasteful, problematic joke regarding pronouns, on top of whatever else he has going on. And the timing is highly suspicious because coming right off the heels of the Rose situation, and now we're going into the comedian Godfrey situation, where you have all these men of different demographics and even some women of different demographics openly saying that they will not protect or support a Black woman that they're not related to or dating or anything else. He really thinks that he can rile up the masses and go. No different than Trump's speech the other day. Where whatever's popular, I'm going to stick it out there and hopefully you'll come and follow me. Because if I would have unlawfully lost my position at a company, a TikTok video isn't where I'm going to go. Especially when I'm in the career field where I've got tons of colleagues and tons of networking that's been done where I can pick up the phone or send a text or send an email and get representation and make sure I still have income coming in. Make sure that my professional reputation isn't tarnished and I can move on. This is another reason why when I see certain people beefing online and they're saying, oh, this is illegal and blah, 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 you wouldn't be online. No attorney, we talk about it all the time when it comes to Trump, is going to be okay with you shifting the focus from the aggressor onto you, the supposed victim. And anything that they had evidentiary wise, you're now presenting it to the potential jury pool, if you choose for a jury trial, and the defense. And before you go, well, Taz, you have to give it up in discovery. You have to give up the evidence. You don't have to highlight for them what you're going to focus on. And that's precisely what he's doing as an attorney, as a legal authority. I can only imagine how he's advised clients. This is also the same man who took to social media to deem all of his exes as crazy and play the victim when it comes to him. Are there people out there who have a series of unfortunate events that happen to them? Yes. But if every single event in your life is somebody else's fault, you're the problem. And given that, once again yesterday, we watched Black women in Congress have the nation's back while being disrespected while doing their job. Can we finally get it together and protect Black women? Can we finally get it together and protect our disabled brothers and sisters and them and theys? And for anybody who may be watching that has decided just to take Hawk's side of it and just to believe him, you need to look within and start deconstructing and asking yourself, while you chose to demonize a Black woman without looking into anything and put the white hat of white knighthood onto a white man just because. And why did you deem him one of the good ones when he never said that he was? I spent quite a bit of time last night going through the content of his that I could find. Because according to him, he's had a lot of accounts banned. I don't know if that's true or not. But he's never come out and said that he's left, that he's liberal, that he's pro this, that he's pro that. He latches on to popular topics and talks about them and gives the impression that he's giving you a legal perspective. I've even used a few of his videos here in order to cut down on time when there's 30, 40, 50 pages in a brief. But so many people are like, oh, he's so honest and truthful and he fights for us. He's on our side. He never told anybody any of that. Right now, he's looking no different than the guy who was outed for attempting to infiltrate the BLM movement and try to rile people up from the inside to actually incite violence. And he really, all he had to do was put on a hat and talk about topics. But when you go back and watch his videos, when he's talking about the topics, he's not saying that these things are wrong. He's not saying that he disagrees with them. And he's trying to be legally crafty by duetting old videos of her. And so he can say, as you saw, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say anything. He's the one being tongue in cheek, inferring things while saying that she is doing that. And how are you? It's very disturbing to be an attorney that lacks nuance and intersectionality. So you don't understand the danger and the violence that goes towards non-white people daily, yet you're here representing who? Because he insinuates that he deals with criminal law. And I say insinuate because there are other videos. But see, when you create a persona for anything, there is no consistency. I said what I said. You can't wear the mask all the time. You got to take it off to let your skin breathe. And for anybody wondering why I did this breakdown over here, first of all, the length of the videos. Second of all, until November, I cannot get another strike. And especially middle-aged white women are on the attack. It's like they are scouring the internet to find anything that doesn't work for him. And he's not even pushing back. The last young lady is correct. He's dirty deleting. If too many people and he can't keep up with deleting the comments are like, hey, this is a bad take. Hey, this is not correct. And they're correcting people in comment sections. He deletes the video. And even if they mass report this page, I already got a backup for this one. So yeah. Now, you know, things have gotten out of control because I don't do internet beefs and I don't do drama, but I also don't do putting other people in harm's way. And if you don't already follow Crutches and Spice, please go and give her a follow and show her some love. She has a plethora of wonderful information, whether it's about the disabled community, marketing, parasocial relationships, you name it. She is an encyclopedia of knowledge. She truly is. Now, hopefully, people will get it together. I don't mind going down rabbit holes, but I don't like going down rabbit holes like this. So, once again, thank you all for joining me here for Freeform Fridays. Do not forget, there will be a bonus episode on Sunday to go over some random topics. I'm going to try to keep it as light as possible. Hopefully, there won't be too much breaking news over the weekend. The only breaking news I'm hoping will happen is either another plea deal coming out of Fulton County or they're able to avoid a government shutdown. But I'm going to skedaddle over TikTok because I still have to get, I'm going to try my best tonight to get the 2 history lessons out tonight. It may only be one tonight and one tomorrow. We shall see. Because your girl is still trying to learn how to pace herself. Kinda, sort of, maybe, adjacent, down the block from pacing myself. But at least we've come around the corner, okay? We've come around the corner. We down the block. So, as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. I'll see y'all Sunday. Be good.